So, welcome everyone to the MYNDOZ Mastermind Podcast Series 1, Episode 1. Today, with us, we have Advocate Anannya Kohli. She is a pan India practitioner lawyer. She's navigating wide array of complex legal disputes, distinguished as a both formidable litigator and a meticulous courtroom tactician. So, welcome, Advocate Anannya Kohli. Welcome, Anannya.
Thank you so much, sir.
So, Anannya, now as you are practicing in pan India locations and having a good track record of a legal practitioner, a lawyer, and a litigator, in this podcast, first series of MYNDOZ Mastermind, we are trying to illuminate our audience with your experience, all the guests who will come here, and starting with you. Now, in your experience, do legal disputes usually arise from dishonesty or from misunderstanding and presumptions? What is your take on that?
So basically, from whatever I have experienced so far, I'd say disputes arise for various reasons. But mostly, if we narrow down to something, I'd say that disputes arise because of misunderstandings. You
Mm,
know, misunderstandings, assumptions rather than clear communication.
mhm.
At times when silence is assumed as consent, that is again a very important factor.
Correct.
Dishonesty is the second stage of it all,
Mhm.
which is achieved through all of the above discussed. So, in directly, if I say it is miscommunication, misunderstanding, and assumptions, which is the baseline of any problem or dispute starting. Dishonesty comes a little later, and
Mm.
with the idea whether malice is included or not, it depends widely on the situation and the individual. Sometimes it arises later, sometimes it is always there. So it
Great,
depends.
great. Moving forward, next question is what is the most common sentence clients say that immediately tells you that a future problem is on the horizon?
Right. So initially, I think any lawyer who is watching this would agree with me.
Mhm.
And the most common sentences are that at least one sentence which hints, it all is
Mhm.
that I thought this is not relevant for you whenever a client is talking to me.
Oh,
Because they have assumptions that even the most minute detail, how am I concerned with that is their assumption.
hmm.
But they kind of fail to realize that even something, whatever they're trying to hide, or even though they're not considering it to be important, hiding is a different ball game. But
Mhm.
if they don't consider it to be important, it
Mhm.
can be used against them.
Correct.
Sometimes clients also have a fear of judgment that my lawyer will judge me or somebody
Oh,
else because they might not know me as an individual or on a personal level.
correct, correct.
So the very fear of judgment is
Mhm.
something which stops them from telling their original side of the story or their mistakes, which
Hmm.
they try to cover up. But they fail to realize that I'm the only person who can save them. So they have to be honest with me. So I have started giving these disclaimers to my clients now.
Perfect, perfect. So,
Right.
and when you talk about, like, say, people have presumptions or, they fear that my lawyer will judge. What is your personal opinion as a lawyer? If some client is approaching to any lawyer anywhere in India or worldwide, what
Right.
should they have in my mind? The biggest thing.
The biggest thing that they have in their mind should be let me be honest about it. Let
Hmm.
me be honest about what I have done.
Hmm.
And let me be honest about the situation.
Okay.
Because if they feel, okay, I'll start from the very basics. In our country, taking a legal action is the last resort because people, they are scared, a little scared of the procedures of law because they are time taking.
Hmm. Hmm.
Right. Although the situation is changing and has changed a lot,
Hmm.
but still people would want to take the legal step as the last resort.
Hmm.
Now, to do that, they come up with the idea either save me or get me out of this situation because I am either the victim or I have done something.
Oh.
Now, in this regard, if I was to save somebody, I need to know the whole situation.
Hmm.
If I cling on to parts of it or portions of it, I cannot pull my client out of a mess or a problem because something or the other will come as a shock to me from the other side of the courtroom. And I need to be prepared for it. Even though you don't want to put it on record, I have to be aware about it.
Yeah.
So the fear of judgment has to go out of the window. So they have to have an open mind about it.
So the lawyers, or even as a lawyer to you as yourself, like you may have, this like in practice that you will tell them clearly that you have
Right.
to come out with everything.
Absolutely.
You tell what is to be put on the record or not. That choice you if you give,
Absolutely.
I believe, as a lawyer, and the client will be at ease to share this thing, right?
Right. Right.
Okay. So, as per your own experience so far in your practice, why do people treat the agreements, the business agreement or some kind of contracts so casually at the beginning until some conflict arises? What
All
is
right.
the tendency behind it?
Mhm.
What is the psychology of the people, business, owners, or your clients in general?
Right. So usually when you say business owners or clients, when people start off, in most cases,
Mhm.
you end up being in business with family or friends. So there's a very strong trust factor in the beginning.
Mhm.
So you don't really have a foresight and you don't assume that things will go wrong.
Oh.
So you are, taking it easy that we have a mutual understanding, or you verbally agree to agreements, or you finalize them over a WhatsApp call or a WhatsApp text.
Mhm.
So you don't really look into it. So initially, they might start off very casual, or even if you have a written format, you have very basic clauses, which
Mhm.
is just talking about how much shares are you having in terms of profits or anything.
Mhm.
And you're just there on the paper, like word to word, but it's not a very detailed contract or an agreement at that.
Mhm.
So until and unless a dispute arises and that trust is converted into distrust, you
Mhm.
don't take those things seriously. That is a problem. So that is one of the issues, like one of the major common issues I've observed throughout.
Okay.
Right.
So is it a kind of say people don't foresee the danger or the loss of reputation or the monetary loss arising from the legal disputes
Mhm.
later on, with they don't foresee, I think, right? Is it
Right, sir.
likely?
I'd say you're partially correct.
Mhm.
And at that, it is not just financial dispute, it is also the understanding between partners and people involved in it.
Or are they too much optimistic about
Right,
the
right,
smooth relationship or association
right.
with their partners?
Like in a formal term, it's called an optimistic bias.
Optimistic one. So they
Yes,
are jeopardized, their views or
absolutely.
their prudence is jeopardized with this optimistic bias. Right? Okay.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So moving ahead, what are the top three everyday business actions that unknowingly create legal risk in a business enterprise or business setting?
So top three, okay. I mean, there can be many, but
Okay, please. Yeah.
top three, I'd say that finalizing things over, WhatsApp or calls.
Mm-hmm.
Number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, not having proper documentation or evidence of formal meetings and things like that, which you are entering into big contracts with big
Oh.
companies or anything, just working on the basis of trust.
Uh-huh.
Then the most important thing is compliance, whether it is tax filings, whether it is databases,
Uh-huh.
whether they are licenses. And
Uh-huh.
if you are not complying it, if there are irregularities in it, it will cause hindrances on functioning of your entire business, which will obviously affect other factors, which can again lead to distrust. So you have to look into every area that you are creating. If you are the founder of a company, you just cannot delegate work and not look into it. So sometimes this happens when you have a lot of work and you are at a higher position. So, these are top three common mistakes, just to answer your question.
So, like, what do you suggest? What do you suggest if any person, he's entering into business association with a friend or family or relative, and
Mhm.
what kind of things he should,
Right,
just make it sure that it is to a, thumb rule or rule he has to follow.
right,
Otherwise, he should not, he or she should not enter into a business.
right, right. So one thing that I'd say to anybody who's planning to do that is have written documentation.
Mhm.
Before you sign a written documentation, I would recommend reading it and having a proper mutual discussion that you're all on the same page with it. And then reading it in the written format, because you know what happens?
Mhm.
Every advocate's drafting is very different. It
Mhm.
depends on the level. So
Mhm.
now what happens is I have also seen, not everybody, like I'd say, I've also seen drafts where people just copy templates, but they forget to customize. Now, as a result, because of lack of customization, the person ends up suffering. So how do you explain it to the judge? You cannot, right? So accordingly, just read word for word so that whatever is discussed mutually amongst everybody is present on the paper. You are okay with the terms and conditions and you're aware what you're getting yourself into. That would be the first step of foresight and avoiding any future legal disputes
Great.
because everything is out there in the open.
Wonderfully explained.
Right.
In this answer, I found that we need to discuss more, in detail about the AI drafting for
Right.
agreements and all these things. But we'll come to that section later on. But now, moving forward,
Mhm.
my next question from your own experience with the clients and with your own, fellow lawyers, they must be discussing inside or outside the courtrooms. Why
Mhm.
do clients hesitate to consult a lawyer in the beginning? And it
Mhm.
is like just to say somebody's starting up, say
Mhm.
somebody's starting a business or some
Right.
association or
Right.
something. Why do they hesitate? What is going in their mind? Is it the cutting of the cost, avoiding the cost of hiring a lawyer, or just having this prejudice that is only made for dispute resolution?
Right.
And once the damage is done, they rush to a lawyer. What is
Right.
the psychology as per your understanding?
All right. You actually helped me answer pretty much of what I was going to.
Uh-huh.
But just to present it in a, in an answer way, I'd
Mhm.
say that first of all, clients wait for the problem to sort out on its own.
Mm.
That is also a thing. They usually they think we'll wait till it gets sorted out without actually wanting to take rounds of the court.
As you
The
highlighted earlier, that legal help is the last
last
resort
resort.
people look at. Okay.
Precisely, precisely. They feel if this can be done on a personal level without letting somebody know we are going through legal troubles and keep it hush hush and resolve it quickly, they would want to do that. Number one.
Mhm.
Number two, yes, when it comes to companies, when it comes to disputes or any other matters, as a matter of fact, litigation costs are expensive. So individuals or firms will charge you a lot. So sometimes it is, at least sometimes there's a small factor to cost cutting as well. And with that, yes, some people still have a misconception that lawyers either will be only helpful in terms of crisis, legal crisis. They don't realize that lawyers, even in businesses,
So here is
people,
a like one of the solid messages from this podcast, which should go to miserably to the business community or the people entering into a large size or amount, big amount. So please elaborate it, Ananya, very clearly that why should they
Mhm.
hire a lawyer in the
Mhm.
beginning of setting up something? Yeah, please.
So, like you said, exactly, this is a very important clause, and we are getting to that.
Yeah.
They should not hire a lawyer.
Mhm.
Every business person should make a lawyer a good friend.
Wow.
That is extremely non-negotiable for them.
Oh.
The reason it is, don't worry about the monetary factors if you're planning big. A
Mhm.
lawyer will understand.
Mhm.
But a lawyer is not there only to save you from troubles
Mhm.
or help you out in the times of need. A lawyer is there to prevent those troubles from actually happening.
Wow.
And a lawyer is there as a consultant on every step of the way so that you don't end up creating problems also.
Prevention is better than cure.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. So that is where people usually think we'll set up a legal wing later on, or we'll have a lawyer, onboarded once we are going to work on employee contracts or something. Started from the day you are renting an office, started from the day you have compliance going on for the registration of the business, because the lawyer that you are having or needs to be aware of everything and anything. There has to be complete transparency with your lawyer. That is one thing that you should always have. They will
So
have your
even
back.
for startups, even for
Even for
startups, right?
startups, especially for startups,
And I
actually.
think you are also practicing a lot. You, as you
Right,
mentioned in the back room, like you have been on the board of a lot of startups as a
right,
consultant, legal consultant.
right,
Okay.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, please add on. I just interrupted you if you wanted to add
Oh,
on.
that's all right. That's all right.
Great.
That's what I was saying, that businesses should have this clear cut that legal compliance should not be a small factor to it because problems will arise.
Correct.
If you are in a business of providing services, consumers will react to it once they are not given that service on time. Startups, they work very hard to provide the best services. I have seen business owners go physically to deliver products or something like
Correct,
that.
correct,
But
correct.
as business grows, it gets out of hand. That is where consumer issues, compliance issues start setting in. So for as a matter of fact, don't keep it as a secondary option. Keep it as a primary target that this is a non-negotiable for me to set up and start. That is also legal is a important part of your foundation.
Okay, great.
My message to any businesses watching this.
Perfect. Now, Ananya, like going ahead, is a written agreement really it's all about trust issues or it's about protecting relationship? As per you as an expert, what
Right.
is actually an agreement? Yeah, written agreement.
So basically, a written agreement is actually, if I rephrase the question now that you've asked
Okay,
with
please.
the same words that you've asked me with, a written agreement is not about trust issues.
Mm-hmm.
A written agreement is to prevent distrust. That is the
Oh.
deal. So that you're always clear with what you want, what you're expecting out of each other. Sometimes, let's assume, let me explain it through a situation.
Mm-hmm.
There are two partners getting into business who think that they'll get 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
But one partner is, investing more money. And
Mm-hmm.
his father is also a silent partner. He
Mm-hmm.
somewhere assumes that I will make a better share than him. And he says that it'll be 60-40. So
Mm-hmm.
here again, that misunderstanding erupts. So
Mm-hmm.
if everything is mutually discussed and on paper and then signed,
Mm-hmm.
and registrations and compliances are done, the chances of distrust get saved a lot. Troubles are saved more. So agreements are a preventive measure than a warning for people entering into business with either friends or family or strangers. So I'd put it that way.
But sometime maybe again, this is as a common man, and it may be the fear of a lot of people when
Mhm.
it talks about law, legal agreement. The legal word itself, it fearful for many people to hear as well.
Right.
So, how to overcome or what you suggest? What should be otherwise people will not take it seriously that they should enter because for maintaining their peace of mind and protecting, as you mentioned very clearly,
Right.
protecting relationship. For
Right.
that, they should talk about the
Mhm.
association or the legality in the beginning itself.
Right.
But as a human, we
Mhm.
are fearful of the word law or legal.
Right. Right.
What kind of awareness you feel government should do, or as a lawyers, you people are taking care? What is that? How do you handle that? Mass presumptions by people.
See, like I said, sir, presumptions will always be there, rumors will always be there. And this profession is quite notorious in nature. And, it's
Exactly.
infamous for certain
Yes.
reasons.
Yes.
But people have to understand that, if you watched movies and you only have had a perception about what lawyers do, and you watch series like Suits and something, you just have a very idealistic idea of what we do.
Correct. Correct.
Because, and I've seen a lot of people get a cultural shock once they enter Indian courtrooms. It's like this and not like that in that movie.
In
So
that.
that actually happens. But, it is about the fact that somewhere literacy when it comes to prevention, protection, and compliance is still
Mhm.
lacking amongst people because there's a fear of getting caught up in the matters of court because number one, there's a delay in the system at times.
Mhm.
Right, but however, systems now have changed. They want to give speedy trials as well.
Mhm.
People think it'll take years, so why go that way? Let's take a shortcut, and they end up in problematic ditches. Right?
Mhm.
But I think education and literacy for this particular purpose, and people just asking and consulting on matters like this will give them a better perspective and a new perspective to view things. And I feel lawyers somewhere also have this responsibility of guiding people correctly, which most of them do. But still, being just to the point so that they are not scared. Sometimes I feel talking to people in their language is necessary for a lawyer. If we just keep on dropping legal jargon, they will anyways be scared. If I talk to an engineer and they talk to me in their language, I don't think I'll be able to
Here,
comprehend.
AI can be of some good help because I have seen a lot of air. Even you told like before this webinar going live, that you are already, and many of the lawyers in your network, they are using simplifying the judgments and the legal papers,
Right.
by issues by courts or agreements in for making them understandable by the
Right.
common people through AI.
Right.
So if we talk about uses of AI, is it really helpful?
So
Is
I
it?
would say that, AI is helpful for you to comprehend processes, of
Mhm,
course.
mhm,
But if I talk about sheerly drafting,
mhm,
recently an apex court judge said that they were shocked that lawyers at the Supreme Court level are
mhm.
giving judgments which are AI based and don't really exist.
Oh,
I think this happened a day or two ago.
is it?
Right, it is. It was in the news itself. So, it is funny that these things happen.
Mm,
I'm not saying don't use AI to draft structures. And if you're in the practice of law, you understand what the structure is like. But that customization, like I said, sometimes templates are used.
yes.
Even templates, I say not even just AI, which is available on Google, let's say.
Mhm,
If you don't look into every pointer, if you don't proofread and
mm,
give it to the client will never be satisfied. Why will the client be satisfied? So
correct.
it's our duty that you have to, go through all the systems of these checks and balances and
Mhm.
make sure what we are giving is immaculate without letting anybody know. These tools are for us to help ourselves.
Yes, these
We
are
don't use
tools.
them as a shortcut. Yes, these are tools. This is not the end product.
Yes.
So this is important.
This is basically, this is what message MYNDOZ also is offering a lot of trainings to lawyers. We recently
Right.
conducted a training for 250 plus lawyers in Dwarka Court. And
Right.
there we also were having such questions. And you rightly pointed out, it is a tool only. It is not the replacement of real legal wisdom or the knowledge or the experience or the lawyer himself or herself. It should be
Absolutely.
used in that way only. Okay, going ahead, in most of the contract, Ananya, what kind of clause, what is the smallest clause common in all kind of contract which people generally ignore, but they really are annoyed or they are really having the problem later on because they simply ignored that kind of contract. It may be some word or some specific contract and all the kind of things. What do you say? Yeah.
So I'd say the most common clause which is ignored is somewhere directly or indirectly with my kind of experience is the termination clause.
Yeah.
The reason,
Termination clause. Oh, great.
yes, right. The reason I say this is I have had cases of people coming to me who are employees of companies,
Mm-hmm.
right? They've come to me with a thing that, they are saying either do this or leave. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to file a case against them. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
But the moment you read their contract, rather than going to a court, they want to take up arbitration. And
Mm.
arbitration is expensive. And they have clauses that the company will be choosing the arbitrator.
Oh.
And arbitrators, as everybody knows who's involved in this field, charges a hefty fee per hearing. So
Mm-hmm.
that kind of a thing that employee will not be able to handle. So the employee has no other option but to comply with other things.
Oh.
So again, not reading the contracts like I had mentioned earlier in our conversation is
Mm.
important before you sign any paper to go through each and every clause so that you're aware. And if you don't know something, consult somebody to know what basically does it mean.
So making a lawyer a good friend is a good habit, a good thing, a good fortune to have, I believe. Because
I
earlier it
say
was
that.
said like black coats are not, as you highlighted, because, India or anywhere in the world, this profession is notorious.
Right.
And but now is the time. Even the legal fraternity has also changed its own way of doing the business. The ethics are being, the moral practices are being governed by the courts as well as in the lot of bodies as well. And I
Right.
think lawyers have also realized it that if they are more transparent and more client vested interest centric work they are doing, they will flourish in their practice as well. So, as a
Absolutely.
lawyer, Ananya, before moving to another set of question,
Right.
what kind of things you feel a lawyer face in India specifically? Because it's a 150 years is the time which court has a lot of bodies have calculated for clearing all the pendencies of piled up cases till now in the courts of India.
Right.
Number of judges are definitely not in line in proportion with the population or the court cases.
Right.
So as the number of lawyers, quality lawyers, or the people who are the lawyers who are willing to speed up the cases in 2, 3, 4 hearings.
Mhm.
Date after date, tarikh pe tarikh, kind of the dialogue becomes a reality because
Right.
most of the lawyers, they don't understand the simple business. If they keep on closing and successful closing of the business or getting relief for their clients in
Right.
time, in quickest time, it will give them more and more business. I believe they are missing this thing. So,
Right.
as a young lawyer, what is your opinion about it? How
Mhm.
do you take it, like about growing what are the challenges, number one, the majority of the lawyers face today, and how do you see it, and what are the practices you are adopting in your own practice?
Right, sir. So basically, I'll take a little bit of your time answering this question
Please.
because it's a very intricate and an important question.
Yes.
So coming to this, looking at it from the perspective that we say what problems are there right now.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in a field of law, there's a lot of saturation,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of lawyers.
Okay.
But I'd say we have a very few good mentors because there's so much work, and people have this thing that they don't want to start work from district courts. They
Okay.
directly want to jump up to high courts or Supreme Courts.
Mm-hmm.
And Supreme Court itself has, on multiple occasions made this statement
Mm-hmm.
that young lawyers and law students actually have to understand that it's important to understand district court practice.
Mm-hmm.
A case is born at the district court and it goes to the appellate courts and then to the apex court. That is the basic hierarchy, or directly to the higher courts, depending on the nature of the case. So, until and unless you are clear of the procedure, how are you supposed to function? That is one of the primary questions. Secondly, not having proper guidance. When you are working for a super senior or a senior designated advocate and you've directly jumped into that pool, you don't know how to go about things. You are doing tasks assigned to you. But what are you learning out of it is something important. If that individual goes independent and has to start from scratch, how much would that individual actually know? Right. Coming to judges and speedy trials, like you said, the ratio and proportion doesn't fit. And there are a lot of cases. Although our system has moved towards speedy trials, but even if we say that the trial is moving quickly as to stage by stage as it's supposed to, but just because the cases are piled up so high that judges are giving dates for at least 3 months apart, 5 months apart, 6 months apart. The problem is not the speedy nature of the trial, the problem is availability of the dates also because of the cases which are piling up. So that preference also has to be taken into consideration. Either we appoint more judges or we kind of ensure that this trial has to, finish within a stipulated time period. So, it's easier to sit and discuss this, but how long will it take to actually come into practice is a different ball game. Right. Then coming to problems that lawyers face.
Mm-hmm.
See, when it comes to lawyers, there is a very big misunderstanding that everybody says that, and it may be correct to some extent, I'd say that people think that being first generation lawyers is very difficult, right? But I'd say it is very difficult. I am a first generation lawyer. I don't have any backing or any help. But the people who are second generation lawyers, I have seen them being too casual about it because they think they have backing. But at the time when they actually have to prove themselves to be a good counsel, there have been situations when they have not been true to that. And it depends. I'm not saying not everybody is like that. Some of them have excelled in the field of law better than their families and, friends in that matter. So it depends how you take the profession, how much effort are you willing to put into the profession, and how much are you willing to not expect and accept what people's opinions are and not function on the basis of that is very important.
Right.
So, any young lawyer should not listen to what people have to say about it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel about it? Try and test your own methodologies. If
Mm-hmm.
that works, if it's working for you, well and good.
Mm-hmm.
Keep on doing that. It is not a job. Law is not a job. Practice of law, it's a practice. It is very different than a job.
How do you
So,
define that?
so practice is something that you're learning every single day. You are not a
Uh,
robot. I'm not saying that you're not learning something
Job
and
is like executing something based upon once you learn something, and then you are executing every day some similar task based upon that previously learned thing only.
Absolutely.
But practice, you have to learn each and every day, and then the new challenges, as per the new challenges come, you have to add new set of knowledge to your knowledge base as well. Right?
Absolutely, because law is ever changing. Even, the very definition of law that we are taught on the first day of our law school is that law has no definition. That
Yes.
is the thing. It will always evolve.
Keep on changing. Yeah, it
So
will.
we have to evolve with law. Then the different surprise is what the judge has to say depending on the situation and what comes from the other side. So
Mm.
you're not just prepared about what you have prepared, you're prepared about anything and everything. It's like going to war. So you
Oh,
don't know what's coming to you from the other
uh,
side. So you have to foresee, you have to be prepared mentally and
mm.
emotionally, you have to be very, very strong in this profession. Yes.
Perfect. Now, when you talk about preparedness, Ananya, where this AI can help a lawyer to
Mm.
get prepared better with lots of AI tools and prompts, which definitely we are also helping lawyers to do research as a legal research assistant for previous judgments, precedents, reading them, compiling them, as well as when it was like coming about the agreement you were talking about. So if it can summarize ChatGPT or a Claude or any other tool, if we upload the PDF file of an agreement, it can highlight. If you write right prompt, then
Mm.
it can definitely tell you what the kind of clause is against you and what is the benefit for me or not, so that you can request it. Where you see the fitting of these kind of tools in preparing for the courtrooms or as
Right.
a legal assistant.
Right, sir. So basically, sir, these tools will help, like you've highlighted, their tools,
Mhm.
right? So these tools will definitely help you because they will answer your question with a great accuracy.
Mhm.
But you being a lawyer, you are aware because sometimes ChatGPT is only functioning on the basis of the information it has been fed or links which are available on Google.
Mhm.
It'll do a wide network search and give you all the information that it's aware of
There is
course.
a scary lab if this kind of incident happens, which you told about 2 days back in Supreme Court.
Right. So, it's your task, even if you get a list of judgments, please cross-check them from official judgments. Whether it is actually, sometimes what will
Wow.
happen, even if it's quoting official judgments,
Mhm.
it might be highlighting only the part that you're answering it to highlight. Why? Because it's identified the same words. But the judgment might actually be going against you. That is not fitting in your petition. So, as
Correct.
a matter of fact, please go through the whole document so your research gets narrowed down. But that research is not final for you.
Correct.
That goes that you have to do your compliance to it. But yes, it can help you greatly save your time. It might create a structure of a petition for you, but you will definitely have to make changes to it so that you exactly comply with it. Because even if you're saying that this margin, that margin, every court has a different requirement, ranging from district courts to high courts of different areas in our country to what the requirement of Supreme Court is. So it absolutely differs. It is just a tool. Your customization is what you have to do additionally to it. That is the only portion that will help you cut time on. As simple as that. As of now, maybe it evolves. AI is evolving exponentially. Of course, maybe it evolves. There are a lot of AIs developing for the legal world as well. Maybe it does.
Yes.
But still, just having your version of compliance to be sure, it will give you a little more confidence in that regard.
So because if both sides of lawyers in a
Mhm.
case they are using same tools, they are using the same, doing the same preparation, they will have same understanding of preparedness with the AI tool. But
Right.
the lawyer who applies a human mind as well and expertise and common sense, I think that is going to be making a winning for him. I guess, right? So
Right.
it's not about AI, but the human intelligence as well.
Human intelligence and the human touch to the whole thing is absolutely non-negotiable, sir. How can you function without that? Even like, the proposed idea
Mhm.
that AI will replace human judges for
Mhm.
speedy trials.
Mhm.
Right. It will assess with the current information. How do you expect it to mold to the situation?
Yes.
Even laws that we have, we are applying them, we are not using them. Application of laws depends on situation to situation. Laws are generic in nature, even if for specific purposes, but you still use it to the particular facts of the case. That's what a human lawyer does. That thing AI cannot completely comprehend or do, maybe in the near future with the evolution of the whole thing. But as of now, this is what the requirement of the current situation is. So
One,
that is essential, that is non-negotiable.
great, great. Going really, I appreciate your clear, understanding of the topic of AI as well as its implications and the precautions the lawyers should adopt in using AI as well. Thank you very much for highlighting that. Now, going forward, Ananya, like how do professionals and legal practitioners they can come into an association of legal thinking habit on a regular basis without the business owner or the other party, non-legal party, being fearful of this whole association? What can be something? Although you have highlighted, we have already discussed it twice in other two questions. What can be simple one habit which you feel or you may be doing it in your regular practice with your clients that it may be something I'm just flipping ideas like whenever there is a contract, share with me first before saying yes. It may be I'm just giving you maybe adding something. So please go ahead.
So basically, like you said, like, even reaching out for a basic task like a contract review. But I'd say for that, just having the knowledge that it's okay to consult. Nobody is giving you the direct route to the court. They
Mhm.
are just saying that just consult.
Mhm.
Know what you're getting yourself into, or at least map out a roadmap where you can remove the obstacles. Consultation and knowledge will not hurt you. Being aware will not hurt you, but not being aware might land you up in big troubles. So, consultation is non-negotiable for business owners
Correct.
or startups, especially startups. You feel like nothing can go wrong. You feel like you've had it all figured out. But I'll still tell you, I don't know how accurate this is or not. Sometimes when we have friends, friends have a friendly bias because they feel, I know my friend.
Mhm.
They might guide you because they know a certain version of you as a human being,
Mhm.
right? Because he's chill, so he should also take it easy. So this is one of the bias. But if you have to be a counsel to your friend, you need to be blunt. Don't expect your friend to be a good friend while being soft in terms of professional purposes and skills.
You have answered my next question that how can lawyers shift from reactive practice after dispute to preventive advice practice?
Right.
It means you have
Right.
to be good. Yeah, please go ahead.
Right.
You can
To
combine this.
answer that question with it again, I'd say that, looking at what potentially can go wrong in the business with experience, with the things that lawyers have seen in happening in other businesses, they can give you guidance that this might happen. So add this clause as well into your contracts. Or, draft it this particular clause in a certain way so it protects you from multiple angles. So these things, these foresight, and the most important part is they can help you put it in a very simple manner without legal jargon so that nobody is appalled by that language. Usually, people are scared of contracts because of the terms and conditions and the clauses because they feel they'll get restricted. But they fail to realize that it can be liberating as well. Why? Because it's protecting your freedom and not putting you in a cage. This is another very common misconception that people have. So contracts are there to protect you, not restrict you. Otherwise, you might end up losing a lot more than you expect. See, things happen unexpectedly only.
Correct.
Even legal disputes, nobody expects them to happen. So this again can be a very good practice to prevent the same.
Great. So, Advocate Ananya, moving ahead, this is getting really deep dive into the legal aspects and the implication of AI. Now, in the AI era, where information is easily available, who do you feel will be replaced by AI, or how will people differentiate valuable lawyer from a replaceable one?
Right,
What
so
kind of
that's a very
factors?
interesting question, I'd say.
Huh?
The only factor, I'd say that it's a very interesting question to reiterate. But the only factor here is a human level of emotional intelligence. Intelligence from AI, I find it'll be quicker than a human being. But that empathy that a human being can present,
Mhm.
the emotions and the logic a human being can put forward in a courtroom would be much different than what AI. AI is robotic. AI works on a single line. Human emotions work in spirals, I'd say. So you have different loops to jump as a human being. AI doesn't do that. AI
It is
can help
very
human beings.
interesting you highlighted.
Right,
Like AI works in one line,
right,
human emotion works in two.
right.
That's good.
So that is important. That's the only common factor.
Mhm.
And I swear, I'll give you a simpler example for this. In the field of medicine,
Mhm.
there are robotic surgeries.
Mhm.
But a robot might not be equipped to handle contingencies which are unforeseeable in a particular sort of surgery.
Mhm.
They might end up looking at it from the angle that you do need human intervention. Even in the robotic surgeries, there are doctors present in that operation theater to
Mhm.
handle situations. So AI can never replace the human factor. AI needs to learn to work with humans and humans too, to a matter of fact, because either cannot function without each other. If you want to take up more work, you will go insane. As simple as that.
You highlighted very well because now there are many tools coming up to
Right,
recognize human voices with different
right,
accents, like whisper flow, so that the command can be accepted.
right,
No need to type, and they are also making even the image generation prompts like in ChatGPT or Gemini, they have started creating realistic image and ditto same facial expression or face as well. So that's they have started definitely AI tools or the AI LLMs have to be adopting the human way to
right.
produce the result as well. So
Absolutely.
we are sitting at a junction of section of human intelligence and AI doing something, but they have to adopt each other's way. So
Absolutely.
it's true for the legal professions as well. Okay.
Right.
So, Ananya, going ahead, if you could give one habit every business owner and one habit every lawyer to avoid 50% of disputes, what would it?
Every business owner should have written records. I'd say not close deals over WhatsApp only. If you are planning, then plan to meet.
Actually,
Have a
just
written record for
one
that.
interesting this question here. Please clear this for our viewers.
Mhm.
Are the WhatsApp chats or
Mhm.
thumbs up or
Mhm.
saying okay in a
Mhm.
message, can
Mhm.
it be treated as a proof, unquote?
Right. So sorry, sir.
Acceptance as well.
Right. Right. I'll tell you how. Courts are accepting digital evidence.
Mhm.
Right. When we talk about a contract,
Mhm.
there are 4 or 5 basic clauses.
Mhm.
That is an offer and acceptance, right? Then monetary purposes and terms and conditions and all of that,
Mhm.
right? But offer and acceptance are the primary thing, with communication being an underlying factor. The offer was made, a thumbs up or an okay has been done, which is acceptance, which is assumed to be acceptance. Here again, that misunderstanding will arise from assumption. Like I said,
Mhm.
right now, courts accept digital evidence through an affidavit 65B in compliance with the Indian Evidence Act.
Mhm.
So your WhatsApp chats, your video recordings, all of that are admissible in the court of law.
Wow.
So people think that AI, fake accounts, all of that are an easy escape, that being present online
Mhm.
is equal to having no liability. That
Mhm.
is absolutely false. So as basic as WhatsApp can be a strong evidence against you.
Wonderful. So, if in one case, I'm just taking a real, life case, some one person says something that I don't want to continue in this association and I'm resigning from this social organization, and
Right,
he says, so if we make a call to him and on WhatsApp and record his voice,
right.
right, and he says, yes, it should be like understanding as my tendering my resignation. Is it admissible and will it can he like say claim that it was not me?
See, that is a very common defense an individual will use. But then again, forensic analysis and all of these things, and
Involved it,
intricate things with all these clauses, that is the reason why you have 65B. So your source of receiving that, the other person will also put the evidence on the record.
uh,
And then at any stage where these annexures are being put up in a courtroom with these affidavits being annexed to it, you will end up having it's called cross-examination. I think you must have, heard about this term.
Mhm.
So evidences are also cross-examined. So everybody has to prove whatever they are claiming. A courtroom doesn't function on the fact that it only hears or sees something. It has to cross-check each and everything. To humbly put it, I'd say that, if you break a bone, you will go to an orthopedic and not an ophthalmologist.
Mhm.
Similarly, when a law breaks or you're in trouble, only then a courtroom will entertain you. If
Mhm.
you're presenting false facts, you will be behind bars because
Correct.
court will hold you liable. So
Correct.
that's the same logic.
Correct. And if one person sends a message to someone,
Right.
can he, like, say, claim that no, it was not sent from, because he has written it from his mobile, the message was sent from his number. Can he
Right.
claim that I did not send it?
Right. So if that happens and the court orders him to present his records,
Oh.
or if not, and they refuse, and if it goes into a forensic analysis
Mhm.
or anything, an investigation is set out for that, the person will get caught.
Oh,
Even if you delete the messages, the record in the databases for Meta and all of these things, they're always
they're
present.
maintaining it.
So if, and nobody can not comply with the court order.
Right.
The prosecution or the other petitioner or any other side can seek an order from the court wanting clarifications on these things and reach out to other people with notices with the court order annexed.
So
So there is,
yeah, so
right,
these digital evidences are very much admissible and
absolutely,
correct.
right.
And as a practice, as you highlighted about AI generated content, and
Mhm.
as courts and media, government agencies, and the IT industry, ministry as well, has made it clear that there should be clear demarcation or identification mark to be put on videos or AI images, generated images through AI. How do you see this as a rebut to the liberty, although it doesn't, I don't want to high say freedom of speech kind of thing, but where do you see how important it has been, and where do you see by the legal, as a legal practitioner, how important it is for normal people to understand and comply?
Right, sir. So basically, I'd say that for normal people, because there are people who think that this is, like I said, it's not, there is no liability hiding behind fake accounts,
Mhm.
and AI can be extremely explicit and vile at the same time.
Mhm.
But courts, see, the government cannot keep complying to each and every application and every AI that develops.
Mhm.
Right. So the person who has created the app, who's the owner of the app, who's the founder of the app, they too have compliance responsibilities. You know, apart, if they are not complying, they will be legally liable because it's not the person who's using it or misusing it. It is their liability that they are allowing people to use and misuse it that way and make money off of it. This very concept that you are the third party and you are still liable, it's called vicarious liability in legal
Right.
jargon. Right. So again, they're vicariously liable and they're liable because they're not complying with the guidelines. So again, this happens, and government, institutions, technology laws, they cannot be customized for each and every application, each and every individual, each and every situation. That customization is not possible. Laws are present, but again, if I say that laws in terms of technology are present, but for AI in general, per se, laws are not present. And that customization will take time because, you know, technology is evolving exponentially, law is evolving deliberately. So we are not per se parallel, but we are logically progressing. So that has to be kept in mind.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So moving ahead to the next question, what one mindset change can immediately improve the relationship between clients and lawyer?
Transparency. That is an absolute non-negotiable. Just
At
being
the
open.
end of both lawyer and
Absolutely. Absolutely.
client.
Right. Because the reason being, it's if somebody comes to you as a client,
Mhm.
it is your task, it is your responsibility to tell them all the versions of help they can get,
Mhm.
whether lengthy, whether short, whether easy. But one message to any lawyer watching this would be, any young lawyer for especially,
Yes.
don't try to bend the law so much that you end up breaking it.
Oh,
Function within the ambit
don't
of
try to bend a law so much that you end up breaking it.
right.
Wonderful.
So work
Beautiful.
within the ambit of law, right?
Work
And
with.
work within the ambit of law, work within the boundaries of law. That is absolutely essential. But it is also your task because the client
Hmm.
does not want to hear that they cannot do that. They
Hmm.
want to hear how can they do that. That
Hmm.
is why they are wanting to hire you. So with that, just be honest with them whether they can actually do it with legal compliance or not. If not, what version of that is legally practical and what they cannot do. And what is lengthy, what is short, what is possible, what is not, that's your duty to tell them. So if you need time to talk to them about it, take your time. Be honest, but
So, Anannya ji, you have been, very blunt and very upright, talking about the practices a lawyer should, take into consideration. As per your experience and observation of the legal fraternity, that you see a lot of successful lawyers.
right.
Where do ethics, morals, and fear of God or the humanity aspect
Mhm.
is responsible or is taken into account or consideration or practice by the lawyers
Mhm.
who are really successful? Or can someone become successful and bring good relief to maximum of the innocent people or the affected people, the victims, through the law or their being a lawyer? What do you
Right.
say?
So actually, it is possible to be a good lawyer, to be a good counsel.
Mhm.
Like late lawyer, advocate Ram Jethmalani ji used to say,
Mhm.
he could help people who
Mhm.
had no money to, he never used to charge them.
Oh, great.
And then he knew where to charge people. He
Mhm.
was charging 5 crores or
Yes, he
crores and
was
crores of
one of the
money.
most high ticket charges.
Exactly. But he knew where to put that kind of money or to put that kind of cost.
Great.
And then he knew where to help. So if lawyers adopt that,
Mhm.
hey, we are just middlemen between the
Justice
judge
and
and the people. We are just the middlemen. It is our job to help people. That's exactly the oath that we take.
help the people.
Right,
That's
right. But yes, of course, when you're young, finances are important. I'm not denying that. That is a driving force. But sometimes there will be cases which are more of a learning lesson and a stepping stone to success, which might not be financially supportive of you, but you should take them up.
people forget sometime it taking a pro bono case.
Right.
It can literally not only enrich their soul but also enrich their legal awareness and can sometime bring some good name, and that the flood of cases may follow after that pro bono.
Absolutely. You never know, it ends up being a precedent. The
Yes.
law completely. How do you know? At least try.
Yes. That's amazing point. Okay,
Right.
great. So it's really getting very interesting and coming up to the towards the end of the podcast. If people remember only one idea from today's podcast, Ananya, today's conversation, what would they start doing from tomorrow morning? What do you say? Message, clear message from for the lawyer fraternity or the clients in general.
Right. Be clear with the plan and have everything in a written format. Have everything written. There is no chance of people putting a question mark. As a lawyer, clients would want to negotiate the fees.
Hmm.
But then, as long as they are written messages, you can always circle back to that and then they don't have an escape. And for a business owner, your partners, your service providers or your customers cannot circle back as long as you have everything in the written format.
Wonderful.
So I know at the time when, adversity hits, you don't think of keeping evidence and records. That comes a little later. So
Mhm.
if you start kind of focusing on that area, that when we have everything with us, we don't have to be scared. That saves you from a lot of trouble.
So not only having this clarity and the written documents, but also keeping them safe as well with you always in some Google Drive or somewhere so that for your future reference, that can be a good thing. Because sometimes people are bombarded with a lot of pictures and messages, and
Mhm.
even the WhatsApp chats
Right.
go by off. It may
Right.
be a little very mundane kind of advice here, but this is just I'm adding it to your use wisdom on this. Great. So now, Ananya, do you believe awareness, like we try to create some awareness through today's conversation? Can this kind of conversation, they can bring, reduce the need of litigation? If we make people aware, the business community, the startup people, common people, about why should they not break the law, and what is the real breaking of law, if they know their boundaries, their limitations. Because sometimes, what do you feel that unawareness of law is also, say, responsible for some of the disputes or litigations?
So it is actually responsible for most of it, I'd say.
Oh,
Right, because you're not aware, you're trusting somebody blindly, and the person trusts you back, but you don't know how the situation turns out to be 10, 15 years down the line.
correct, correct,
Nobody can expect that. And if you say, if I quote, some of
correct.
the property matters are family-based property matters. You never see that family is going to turn, their back on you. But you're still fighting for 10 years, 20 years, 15 years. You never know how things change. Right. For that, just being aware about the procedures is a preventive measure. What sort of legal problems arise in your business can be a consumer based issue. You never know. You cannot prevent anything and everything. Your service might not be, even if it is immaculate, the customer might perceive it to be, a problem to some point. They might reach to the courts to resolve that. So it is just a method where you can cut down on your litigation costs and your problems. But I would say being totally aware cannot prevent all
Correct.
those problems from ever happening.
Perfect.
That is one thing, sir.
Great, great. All right, Ananya ji. So this was all, and thank you very much for sharing your deep wisdom and insight, and in such a very delightful and interesting manner. And I believe the viewers will find this conversation, this podcast, very valuable, and the lawyers. And we will try to keep, bring more and more, episodes forthcoming in the next future in this series on legal practices and for the lawyers, as well as we will try to make law easy to understand through conversation with multiple lawyers, including such a bright lawyer. Today we had, Anannya Kohli, and who's practicing pan India in all the courts, and this is really amazing. And MYNDOZ express deep gratitude to you, Ananya ji, for gracing our first in series MYNDOZ Mastermind Podcast, where we are committed to bring brightest of the people sharing the insights in such a simple manner. Thank you very much for joining us. God bless.
Thank you so much for having me. So thank you so much.